Hello, everyone from Chelsea Fan TV. I hope you're all doing very, very well. Welcome back to another evening show, slightly later than usual. We'll be done at midnight, but that's fine. Not a problem at all. Do you know what? There is a fair amount to get through today. So we're going to be going into as much detail as possible regarding Veiga, Xavi Simons as well. We're going to be talking about Nicholas Jackson, all of the latest Chelsea transfer news. So if you haven't already subscribed to the channel, smash that like button, subscribe, and turn on the notifications button as well if you want a few more updates when I stream. I try and stay consistent, but the timings do vary. Big up to Mike. Hope you're doing well, mate. Good to see Father in the building as well. At least it wasn't Garnacho. Veiga agreeing personal terms with Atlético is whatever. Not our lane, but Xavi Simons being interested in Chelsea. Now that is a conversation. He then goes on to say, let's see if the club actually moves smart for once. I would say this, Father. Do you not think that a lot of the business we've done has been pretty good? So I think it's a bit harsh to say for once, but I guess you're just referring back to Mike Maignan. I guess that's what you're talking about here. But I think Chelsea deserve a lot more credit than we've given them in terms of the business they've done, because we've seen the success that we've had. And yes, if we hadn't have won the Club World Cup, I think there'd still be a lot of skepticism going into the season from a lot of fans, myself included. But that victory has cemented us as an elite football club once again that should be taken seriously right here, right now. No two ways about it. And if you aren't taking Chelsea Football Club seriously and you're a rival fan, then I don't understand. I don't understand how you can't take us seriously when you see what we are building at the moment. This club is at a different dimension to what I can't. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable, mate. Unbelievable. Anyway, let's not reminisce too much about the Club World Cup, although I'm sure we can talk about that plenty more over the coming season. Let's start off with a player that has been looking to leave Chelsea since January. You know, it's nothing brand new. But let's start off with Renato Vega. Okay, this is a player I'm a big fan of, but it's never going to work out when you don't show a commitment and a desire to want to be at the club you're at. And he doesn't have that desire. He doesn't have that desire to fight for his place at Chelsea. He basically wants to be a guaranteed starter. That's what he wants. Okay. Chelsea have set his price tag 35 million, including add-ons, or plus add-ons. I'm not 100%. It was one of the two. And it came out today from L'Equipe. This is earlier on that Atlético Madrid made its second offer to Chelsea for Renato Vega of £30 million. And the clubs were in talks. So when you look at it from that sense, you go, okay, well, it's good to see that there's at least interest in Vega if we want to move him on. And it's obvious that Chelsea are looking to get rid, but only at the right price, like anyone. And you're thinking, okay, well, maybe there's some negotiations to be had here. It's a serious offer, isn't it? We then heard from Fabrizio Romano that Vega said yes to Atletico Madrid, and there was no issues on personal terms. Chelsea insists on the package reaching 35 million with add-ons including, and the direct talks continued. So, essentially Chelsea basically just saying we're not going to accept less than 35 million. We're not going to accept it. It's just not going to happen. And I think that's fine. I think that when the beauty of our structure, and there's some negatives. Don't get me wrong. We've missed out on some good players, and you would honestly say that it's quite pathetic at times. Yeah, you can kind of understand the Osimhen situation financially, why we didn't want to do it. When you're looking at hundreds of thousands of pounds a week, by far one of our top earners, or at least one of them. we're trying to trim our squad in terms of the wages. So, and Mike Maignan as well. Like, there's pennies involved in that deal in football terms. 4 million. Are you kidding me? But when you are signing players and you know that you're getting a good deal financially, if the value goes up, it doesn't just go up by 10 million. We signed Renato Vega for 12 million pounds, and we're going to triple our money. So anyone that's telling me that's not good business, are you kidding me? It's unbelievable. And so from a business perspective, you cannot deny the intelligent, I don't know what you want to call it, smart business decision. And we deserve credit for that. Our recruitment deserves credit for that, because ultimately they are working with what they are allowed to work with. Okay, people have been so critical of our recruitment, and I've always said it's not their fault if we're not signing these players. It's the ownership that are giving them the instructions, and they're just carrying out those instructions as best as they can. Do you honestly think that if Clear Lake Capital didn't want to sign Osimhen, if they did want to sign Osimhen, that we wouldn't do it? Like Galatasaray, you do what's necessary to get the players you want, and our structure dictates the way we do business. Anyway, we had another update very soon after, saying from Matt Moretto, an Italian source, I think, if I'm not wrong. Yeah, it looks Italian. Atletico and Chelsea are in talks to agree on the final amount for the possible transfer of Renato Vega. The player has said yes, and Chelsea wants 35 million, including bonuses. So pretty much a very similar thing to what Fabrizio Romano was saying. No massive changes there. So the main thing that we've established is that Vega has pretty much agreed personal terms with Atletico Madrid. He's keen on the move, and it just depends on the agreement with Chelsea. So if a move to Atletico Madrid doesn't work out, there's other teams in the mix. This is according to Pletty as well. Bayern Munich and a number of other Premier League sides as well. I'm sure Juve would be interested, but again, we've got to look at the finances and how everything works on that side. So yeah, when I'm looking at Vega, I'm seeing a player that ultimately would benefit Chelsea. He's a good player for us to have, but like any player, and actually the one difference between Vega and Felix, because Felix obviously he wanted to go in January as well. The one difference between Vega is actually good enough for Chelsea to start for Chelsea. He really is good enough. He just needs to prove it. He can start ahead of Levi Colwell if he puts his mind to it. But you have to accept that there might be a season or two where you're not starting. But then in football, things can change very quickly. It could be a big injury for one player. It could be, a stint of bad form. Whatever it is, you always get your opportunity at some time if you stay mentally strong and ready, and then take your opportunity when it comes. And it frustrates me when players aren't willing to be patient in that sense. But the justification from Renato Vega and his camp is that they want to play regular first-team football. He's a Portuguese international. He wants to play for Portugal as well. If he hasn't got regular game time, why the hell would he stay when there's other clubs that are going to offer him that opportunity? And to be fair, like in that sense, like fair enough. If that's the stance you want to take, I don't have a problem with it. But if it doesn't work for Chelsea, then you're going to stay. That's the reality. Or you're going to go on a lot of loans to recoup that money. Because let's not forget, the loan deal that we had with Juventus was about £5 million as well. So we almost recouped 50% of what we paid for Vega in a loan fee. So we only have £7 million left, and then we have broken even. So you can actually say if Chelsea didn't agree to anything with Atletico Madrid, and who knows, maybe they will, maybe they won't. But let's just imagine they don't do it. You could say, you know what? If anyone wants to loan him for £6 million, £7 million, I think that's quite a lot. But yeah, 5-6 million. You can have him. And then we've basically recouped what we paid for him anyway. And even if we sold him for 20 million, that would be profit. So Chelsea are in a very, very strong position. And when we look at these long contracts as well, any player that isn't going to be sold straight away for a profit, you can loan them out and just recoup those fees over a couple of years and then sell them for a lesser transfer fee anyway. That's how you make your money. It's a little bit longer. It's a little bit harder. It's more time consuming, but it's good business. It's good business. So listen, all the best to Renato Vega. Honestly, I wish him all the best, but he doesn't have a future at Chelsea. And that's got nothing to do with his ability. That is to do with the fact that he's been looking for this move. And Chelsea seem perfectly open to it as well. He's not been a key part of this project. So there you go. I mean, people have said to me, why don't we have Veiga in? Because we need cover for Cucurella. And you know, he can obviously cover Levi Colwill as well. But the issue is that when if Colwill doesn't play, what Maresca's generally done is he's put someone else in there, like Badiashile or Fofana or Tosin or whoever it is, everyone except Veiga in that centre-back spot. And then we've played Veiga as a left-back. We played him as a midfielder at times, which I wasn't a fan of, to be honest with you. People said he had a few good games. I say, okay, fine, he was all right. But I never looked at Veiga and thought, I really like what I'm seeing. And based on what I heard in Italy when he was playing as a centre-back, you heard nothing but good things. So there's clearly a player there. There's clearly someone who's capable of playing at the highest level. But if we're not going to facilitate that, then he's got to move on. So that's the situation with Renato Vega. Why not promote some of our academy? Ray Pennybody. I don't know who he is, to be honest with you, mate. No idea who that is. I know a fair few academy players, but how old is this guy, Ray? How old is Ray? After Xavi and Hato join, I feel that Chelsea is not signing any winger. There will only be exits and Jackson stays. Well, Felix, Xavi Simons is kind of like the winger that we are signing. Just like Hato is kind of a left back, but he's also a centre back, isn't he? So I would say that's pretty smart business. I'd say you're saving money going for Simons as opposed to Morgan Rogers. Maybe you're taking a risk because he's not Premier League proven, but you know, this is a guy who's still a top player, and I think we've got to give we've got to give credit where credit's due. It's not like he hasn't fulfilled his potential since he's gone to Leipzig. I mean, he's been very, very good. He's played less games this season than he did last season, but his stats haven't dropped. They've still been exceptional. If you look at it on a per game basis, it's really good. But I think that it will be a case of exits first and then we sign players. But Xavi Simons seems more realistic at the moment than Hato. When I'm hearing the £60 million mark, that seems a little bit excessive. I think we can all agree on that. That's excessive. I wouldn't pay more than 45 million for Hato. I think that 50 is really taking the mickey as well. But Chelsea don't mind spending money if it's a player they really want. So maybe there's a chance that happens. But 60, no chance. No way. Still feel like we're letting this Club World Cup win get to our head. We didn't value this trophy much until it looked like we were going to win it. I reserve my optimism for our results next season. Well, I mean, you can't deny it. We finished ahead of 31 other teams. So we've got to be proud. I mean, I don't know how you can. Would you not celebrate a Carabao Cup, even though people say it's the Mickey Mouse Cup? Everyone says it, but you'd still celebrate it. And then you say, well, okay, fine, it's a trophy. And you get maybe what, 5-10 million for winning it? We got $100 million. $100 million. You know, that's incredible. It's beneficial for us as a club in the age of PSR and FFP. So many good things about winning the Club World Cup. Not to mention it puts our club back on the map. And Xavi Simons, players who may not have been interested in moving to Chelsea at one point, now are looking at us and thinking, oh, it's actually quite a good-looking project. Big up to Stephen. Crazy that Cloudacre is willing to buy players but not improving our goalkeepers. Yeah, I honestly think that what's going to happen is we will wait for Manyan. I really believe that's what they're going to do. Yeah, the goalkeeping one's crazy for me because I think Petrovic would have been great, but that's done. So no point talking about that. It makes me yawn just thinking about it. Clown Lake understands that they can get Manyan for free in summer or less in January. You're right. You're absolutely right. But if let's just imagine that we drop loads of points because of Sanchez up until that point, and then you can argue against that. But then if Sanchez has a great start to the season or performs well over the season, hopefully what that means is we can bring in Manyan, we can sell Sanchez and make our money back, and everyone's happy. We've just won the Club World Cup. We're watching a 10 out of 10 window unfold in front of our eyes, and we're still doing this Clown Lake gimmick. I mean, listen, I've never really been one for the Clown Lake. I mean, I just read the comments, but for me, in the short term, when I was looking at the past sort of 2 years, you can kind of understand where it comes from. Of course you can, because we have looked like a clown show at times. We really have. In terms of the way that fans have been treated, vivid seats, not being willing to go after ready-made established players, only going for young players, gutting our squad that was successful, getting rid of our best manager in recent times and getting it wrong multiple times with other managers, and then restarting again with Maresca. It didn't look great, but hindsight's a great thing. And you have to admit that whether you like them or not, they're running the club in a way that is working right now. And we are benefiting from a lot of the decisions that were made a year or 2 years ago, like bringing in Estevao, and we'll probably benefit from Quenda when he comes in, and Andre Santos, all of these guys. And we might see Mike Penders come into the fold in a year's time. Like, we don't know. We don't know. So that's the thing about a long-term project, is not everyone is able to see it. And I won't pretend that I could see it. I won't pretend that. I could see certain aspects working out, but I think it's very difficult to look at everything that was happening and say, oh, this is great. Especially when you're playing like we did at some points. But for me, it's very positive times at Chelsea. Very positive. I think it would be disingenuous to say otherwise. Big up to Jenksy. I hope you're doing well. If you give me a rating for this window so far, it's a 9. However, I will change my mind if we sign a goalkeeper, because I do not trust our current goalkeepers. This is the thing. There isn't many left backs. You're absolutely right. And that's where we need to try and find some cover for Cucurella. We do need to try and find some cover. I'm with you on that. Am I keeping the beard for the whole new season? I'll probably have a haircut tomorrow. I was meant to have a haircut on Sunday, but then I ended up going on Don's stream. It's a bit of a late haircut, I know, but it takes a while because I don't pay for it. I get it done at home. 26 likes. Oh my God. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I can't see it, but I can see that we've got over 110 people on YouTube. We've got almost 500 of you here on X. So smash that like button if you haven't already. On X, I presume you can, I think you can still like a live video on X. So if you haven't already, smash the like button wherever you are. You can repost the stream as well. And comment down below what you think, whether you're enjoying it or if there's anything you agree or disagree with. Come on, people. Let's get up to at least 75 on YouTube. Smash that like button. Oh, God. Right. Ray Penfunny is a YouTuber. Yeah, I knew I got done with that. I knew I got done. That's why I didn't say it super loud. I was like, am I getting tricked here? Big up to Rubik's as well. When am I going to get but I'm going to get as soon as I can, mate. As soon as I can. Right. Let's move on. So we've spoken about Renato Vega. We've spoken about him. We've seen what's going on in that situation. So let's move on and let's speak about Xavi Simons. Okay, this is a really, really interesting transfer. This is a transfer that wasn't really in the conversation at Chelsea, but now it's a bigger conversation than ever, because not only is it something that's attractive, it's something that's realistic. It's like when you see a really good-looking girl in the club and you think, she wouldn't go for me. And then, I don't know, you drop something and she picks it up and gives it to you and you get a conversation going. But she doesn't just want to have, one or two words. She actually wants to speak to you and you're thinking, bloody hell, maybe I've got a shot here. And that's what it's like with Xavi Simons. This is a good-looking prospect here, footballing-wise. And financially, very, very attractive. So when we look at Xavi Simons and we see the amount of news that's coming out about this player, and we see what he's been able to produce at other clubs as well. To be honest, Xavi Simons has been famous for like 10 years. Honestly, he's been famous for longer than that, maybe 10, 11, 12 years. I remember 10 years ago, they were fucking doing stuff about this guy when he was like 11, 12, 13. How much of a baller he's going to be. Like that, do you know, that impresses me so much when you're a young player and you're able to deal with that spotlight at such a young age and still go on to be a great player. And I'm not sitting here saying Xavi Simons is the next Messi. I'm not saying that. But the guy has made a good career for himself. And I always respect that, because you get so many young players that are in the limelight and they just can't hack it. And obviously he's done very, very well. So fair play to him. Yeah. So it's not just me. Like there's quite a few things going on there. And it is an opportunistic signing, isn't it? It's a very opportunistic signing. This is exactly what Chelsea like. Chelsea like opportunistic signings, players that we would never even think about going for if it was the full price. And if he was a couple of years older, we wouldn't be on him anyway. But everything sort of seems to be lined up perfectly, where you see that he's young enough, but still old enough and experienced enough, cheap enough, that if you bought him, you could still say to yourself, I actually think we'd still make a profit if we did want to sell him. Not that I want us to think that way. And he clearly has the ability. And he plays in a position which would benefit us with versatility as well. Swiss Army knife, whatever you want to call it. Can play in the middle as a 10, as an attacking midfielder, and he can play on the left-hand side as well. So a number of different options. And he has he's been to a lot of top clubs. He grew up in La Masia, went to PSG. Was it PSV? He was at PSV, PSG, and obviously now he's at Leipzig. We'll figure out the order in a second. So, yeah, very, very positive when we look at this guy. But, yeah, it came out from Pletigol. Chelsea has serious interest in Xavi Simons, and talks between the club and the players' camp have already started. No club-to-club talks yet. Chelsea is currently the most concrete option. So out of all of the options available, basically Chelsea is the options that's most likely to happen. That doesn't mean that he's more interested with Chelsea than anyone else. But yeah, it's the best option that we're seeing at the moment. Fabrizio Romano came out and said, new movements expected soon with Xavi Simons. The situation is expected to develop soon. The price can be under £60 million, with talks to follow soon. We heard 56 the other day, so I'm just going to go with that number as it stands. But yeah, anywhere between sort of 55 and 60 million, I think, is realistic. I don't see why Leipzig would want to make a loss, even if it's just £5 million of profit. Like, that's fine, because he only signed a 2-year contract. So it did seem a bit dodgy at first. When originally I got this wrong, I thought, because I was looking at Transfer Market. If you don't know Transfer Market, guys, it's a great website for finding out information about footballers. how many goals, like their stats and their transfer history, stuff like that. And I was reading that, and it had 80 million. I was thinking, fucking hell, they spent 80 million on him. Why the hell would they sell him for 56? It makes no sense whatsoever that he signed a 2-year contract as well. And I got it wrong because that was his value at the time when they bought him in euros. But they bought him for 50. So they do stand to make a profit. And obviously they've benefited from having Xavi Simons for another year as well. And his development has obviously been harnessed at Leipzig. Leipzig are very good at developing players, aren't they? Germany, generally speaking, is a great league for developing young attacking talent. So yeah, I'm liking what I'm seeing. Obviously, Bayern Munich are also interested, as well as Arsenal, who are aware of the situation. But when you look at the priorities of all these different clubs, I think that you can pretty confidently say that Chelsea, we seem to be the club that will get this done if we want to. It's not a case of, we're competing against Bayern Munich, we're competing against Arsenal. Who's he going to pick? This is a case of who's going to work faster? Who wants to sign this player more and basically get stuck in? Because whoever it's first come, first serve sometimes in football. That's how this game works. And if Chelsea come in with a beautiful offer, then Leipzig aren't going to say no. They're not going to go, let's wait for Arsenal and Bayern Munich to catch up. Then it's about agreeing things with the player side. And again, Premier League, very attractive prospect. I don't think the wages will be an issue either. But I don't know what he's on. I'm not sure what Xavi Simons is on. But we'll find that out in a second. Yes, I agree. I do think that he'll play on a similar role to Palmer on the left-hand side. I agree with that. And I think that he'll thrive. I think, like any player coming in, if you're walking into a team which, I don't know, let's just look at it from any team where you are expected to provide individual quality without having help from your teammates, it's going to be slightly more difficult. Whereas Chelsea, you're surrounded by an array of young talent, and a lot of those players are shining and coming through, as well as obviously other new signings as well. So when you compare a player like Cunha going to Man United and a player like, let's just say, Xavi Simons, you can see Xavi Simons being able to settle very quickly because of what he's working with around him and the system. So this is a guy who's going to have, he's going to be in a system where we dominate the ball. I guess the one concern is how do we break down low blocks? Because you don't do much of that in Germany. Damn, 192,000 a week. Seriously? Seems like a lot. That seems like a lot. I feel like he's on less than that. There's one thing they don't have on transfer market. It's wages. Yeah. I don't know what his wages, to be honest with you. I for some reason I dispute that, Jordan. I'm not going to lie to you. That seems like an awful lot. What's that in pounds? 150? 160? Yeah, that seems more realistic. If he's on 100K, we're fine. We're absolutely fine. Give him a small pay rise, nice long juicy deal, 7-year contract, proper Chelsea. That's what we're hoping for here. Well, Palmer's on about 130. So Tossing's on 120. Yeah, Palmer's on 130. But this is, again, pre-Champions League wages. So we've got to give a bump to all of these players. Palmer's really on about 180, 190 now. So actually, when we're looking at the Champions League wage, you'd probably put Xavi Simons at about just under that, 170. I always forget that with our wage caps, obviously, they get great bonuses. It's true. It is true. But yeah, again, another update. Chelsea were working on reaching a verbal agreement with the Simmons camp. And from what we heard, talks have been pretty positive. And we're going to discuss the Xavi Simons deal on Tuesday. The player has opened doors to Chelsea move after direct contacts with his camp. The deal depends on outgoings for Chelsea. So really, this is where we need to sell to see if we can raise some capital to reinvest in the squad and get something else going. There's a lot that's happened about this guy. Matt Law, as well, has come out and said Chelsea have made a check on Xavi Simons, with the player believed to be open to a transfer to Stamford Bridge, but a move for another attacker may be dependent on a departure. We've already raised a lot of cash, though. It's not like we haven't sold anyone. Arsenal believed to have registered an interest in him, but Chelsea are currently rated the most attractive of English options. Of course. Honestly, really, Arsenal? Oh, come on, guys. Come on. And again, like we talk about the Club World Cup, whether it carries any weight. And who knows how much truth there is to this article. But I believe that, it's just common sense that it's going to carry some weight, because you're looking at a club who's been successful over a season. And yeah, we've had ups and downs. But yeah, Matt Law's again come out and said Chelsea's qualification for the Champions League and Club World Cup success has elevated them in the eyes of players based outside of England. And Xavi Simons is thought to be interested in the prospect of moving to Chelsea. And when you see the success that we've had, why wouldn't you be interested? And we build this project around players like him. How does that not appeal to you if you're a young player? Of course it does. It has to appeal to you. I can't understand why it wouldn't. I can't understand that. But, there you go. Smash that like button if you haven't already, guys. And if you're on X, drop a like, drop a retweet. I appreciate it. We've got over 600 of you on X. On YouTube, we've got over 130 of you on YouTube. Appreciate everyone watching. But I think it's fair to say that Xavi Simons is a player that, yeah, quite frankly, we need to get going. If we want to get this deal done, we need to get going. But I don't think that'll be a big problem. Especially with the wage. And I don't believe the wage is 190. I think that's wrong. I think more like 100K is realistic. Leipzig are not paying 200K a week. They're not doing it. So let's have a look at Xavi Simons. Let's see his profile and let's see what he's done. I've already seen this, but some of you may not. If you ever want to go on a website, go on Transfer Market. Great website. Okay. And you can see how he's done over all of the seasons. Now, there are pop-up ads, but I think we'll survive. Okay, and this is everything he's done. So let's go back 2 seasons. Not this season, the season before, yeah? And this is when he was still at Leipzig. Okay, this is what he was able to do. 43 games and 25 GA. More assists and goals. He was a creator, right? He was a creator 2 seasons ago. And if you look at where his goals and assists are, you say, okay, they spread out. He had a fantastic start to the season. Little gap at one point, and then regained some form. Slightly quiet patch from game week 15 until game week 21. And then regained some form up the end of the season. So this is a guy who, generally speaking, is pretty consistent. Okay. And you can see his goals are spread out. His goals and assists are spread out, which is always important. You have a little bit of, a little bit here. Like if you look at Victor Gyökeres, for example, you'll see 4 goals in one game. But I mean, Victor Gyökeres, to be fair, he's scored so many fucking goals. So it's spread out, which is a positive thing. And then in the Champions League, you can see what he's done as well. And you can see how he did in the Euros. So that's a good season. Yeah, 25 GA. Nobody's going to dispute that. No one is going to dispute that whatsoever. How did he follow it up? So this season, what did he do? Now, he had a slight injury. Okay. He had an ankle problem. So he did miss a few games, but he still played the majority of the season. Okay. Playing 33 games, and he got 11 goals and 8 assists. It's a pretty good season. Okay. 19 GA in 33. That's a good season. All right. For the amount of games he's played. Pretty, not the best start to the season, but it was all right. It was okay. Got injured and then bounced back straight away. When you take into consideration the amount of games he missed to come into the side and immediately kick off, this is a more impressive season in a lot of ways, taking away the injuries, because you don't have any big spaces from game week 16 where he's not contributing. 1 space, 2 games, 1 game, 2 games, 1 game, 1 game. So the longest space where he hadn't scored was 2 games without a goal or an assist. At the beginning of the season, not quite as good. You had a 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 games. But then you look at Nicholas Jackson, you look at all these other guys, and you say, God, going Palmer like a few months without a goal. We're not having that with Xavi Simons. You don't have it. It's just important to point that out. So, yeah, he's a player that I can get behind. And when you see the money that's there, you're not breaking the bank. Nicholas Jackson is being priced higher than Xavi Simons. And people want to complain about paying 50 to 60 million for this guy. If we're asking for 80 million quid for as a minimum for Nicholas Jackson, then it's got to make you think that this Simons deal is relatively attractive, right? It's a pretty good looking deal. So yeah, that for me is it's a no-brainer. Now, yes, I do think Morgan Rogers would be a better player for Chelsea than Xavi Simons. I do think that. So I'm not saying that Rogers isn't a good player to bring in. But again, Chelsea looking at the age of the player, the wage of the player, the potential. Can we sell him on for a profit? Xavi Simons ticks those boxes just as much as Morgan Rogers, but we know he's cheaper and we can probably sign him on a cheaper wage. Okay, so a number of things going in his favor. Not to mention that, again, just like Morgan Rogers, he can play on the left and he can play as a 10 as well. One thing I forgot to mention when we were looking at his season, look at his positioning. Look at where he's been playing. This is this season. Left mid, attacking mid, left mid, left wing, attacking mid. Play down the middle, back to the left, middle, left, middle, left, left. That is fucking versatility. Maresca's licking his lips. So you listen, the guy can play in multiple areas of the front line in two positions that we could use the help, because you're not going to have João Felix there. He's not in there, but maybe Dewsbury Hall fills in, or someone else can drop a little bit deeper. Who knows? Or Enzo Fernandez goes further up. Like, there could be options. And then on the left, like we have players that are good players. I mean, I think Gittins is a good player, but I think Simons is an upgrade. I think he's better. But when you are hopefully going to play as many games as we will, you need to rotate. You need to. And this is the blessing of having those extra games in the Champions League. And this is the blessing of having European football as well. If you are a top team and you are not playing European football, you cannot have a big squad, because you can't justify it to the player. You can't even give them European minutes. You can't give them cup games. You can't do it. Obviously, you've got the domestic ones, but you understand where I'm coming from, right? Look at the development of Mudryk before he got banned. He was playing in the Conference League regularly. He was actually improving. It does work. So, we'll see. If we really think he can produce, then buy him. Is he better than Madueke, says John? Yes. Yes, he's definitely better than Madueke. Without question. And if you, great way of looking at it is just using the money that you had for Madueke to bring in Xavi Simons. That's a direct upgrade. Just like Esteval is a direct upgrade on Madueke. So, like, when we talk about Jamie Gittins, not entirely sure, to be honest with you. But they're definitely both upgrades for me. So Xavi Simons is a thumbs up for me, guys. It's a thumbs up. I'm happy with the signing of Xavi Simons. I'm happy with that. Now, what I am a little bit surprised about is some of the stuff I'm hearing about Nicholas Jackson. I'm surprised that Man United's name is still coming up for Jackson. And I'm surprised with the amount of money that's been linked with this guy. £80 million for Nicholas Jackson. If you want to look at the article, you can. It's free from The Sun. This is the article here. Man United in Jackson transfer boost with Chelsea ace snubbing Euro giants. I mean, Lord knows how reliable that is as a source. But that's what The Sun have come out and said. It says he's turned down offers from Napoli and AC Milan to stay in the Premier League. I doubt it, to be honest with you guys. But yeah, hey, let's have some fun. Why not? We've had Rahman Osman as well. Actually, sorry, he is the reporter for The Sun. He said Chelsea have received a boost for Nicholas Jackson. I mean, it's just a load of bollocks. You want to think Jackson's going to turn down a European side like Napoli? What, for Man United? Nah, I'm sorry. I'm not having that. That's not even worth talking about. But what is worth talking about is the direct link between Chelsea potentially getting Garnacho and Man United getting Jackson. It's like one of those players that I don't think Man United are really keen on getting Jackson. I don't think Chelsea are really keen on getting Garnacho. But they're both like, well, we quite like them. We quite like this guy. Fabrizio Romano come out on Transfer Sector and said the name of Nicholas Jackson is really tempting Man United, and they could offer Chelsea Garnacho in a swap deal. Internal talks ongoing to decide what they want to do. Now, my immediate thoughts is, where does Garnacho fit into Chelsea if he was to come? And is it beneficial for Chelsea to do a swap deal with Man United? Is it beneficial? I struggle to find any benefit. I struggle to find any positives from Garnacho. I struggle to find that. He's young. He fits the wage structure. Plays in a position where we could use a little bit more depth as a winger. So that's something. But I just don't see it, guys. I don't see it. I don't see where Garnacho fits into Chelsea's project. He's not versatile. Like, he can't play as a 10. He's going to be just as expensive as Xavi Simons based on what United want for the player. But let's be honest, they'd probably accepted a bid of like 30 million at this point. I think they just want to get rid of him as quickly as they can. I can't believe they turned him down for fucking... I think that Napoli offered like 40 million, 45 in January, and they turned it down. I mean, that was crazy to me. Crazy. And I think that was the best offer they were going to get for Garnacho, because now we know, we already knew this. United are desperate. They are desperate to rebuild. They are desperate to reinvest, but they can't reinvest until they get rid of the deadwood that they already have in this squad. And even the players they want to sell, they can't sell. They have to keep loaning them. You got Rashford going to Barcelona. You got Sancho going to Juventus. I don't know if that's confirmed or not, but I'm pretty sure that's what I've heard. Yeah, so Garnacho is a pure profit play that ultimately, if money is needed, that's the guy you cash in on. And if you think that waiting another year to get an extra 10 million for the guy is going to work, I just don't see how that benefits United. Just get him out the door and sell him. But don't sell him to us, please. I'm not here advocating for the signing of Garnacho. That attitude problem he has is literally a myth. He was United's best player when Ten Hag was there. I could see a player there when Ten Hag was there. I agree with you on that, Rubik's. I could see a player there, but I do believe that there is an attitude problem. Because, well, I mean, the clear and obvious proof is him wearing an Aston Villa shirt. And that's just an act of disrespect and disloyalty and unprofessionalism. It's extremely unprofessional. So I can't sit here and justify what Garnacho did and act like I want that in my club. And Garnacho is not the only player I've spoken about with this. I've spoken about Wesley Fofana. But again, when we're talking about attitude here, see that maybe maybe there's a bit of a difference. I'm talking about dedication, and I'm talking about professionalism and loyalty. I'm not talking about yellow cards or red cards. That's not what I'm talking about. And if we are talking about yellow cards, who gives a fuck? They're not getting sent off. So, I mean, I don't have a problem with that. I think Delap is the perfect example of a player, a bit like Cucurella, who knows how to go on the line and cross it just a little bit, but not enough to really be punished for it. And that, to me, is a great thing. We haven't had a player like that since Diego Costa. And even when we think of Costa, Costa got sent off regularly. Like he got a couple of reds a season. So, you know, that's kind of a strange argument to make about Delap when we loved Costa and, you know, he was still a fantastic striker for us. So even if you are getting red cards, you can still be an amazing striker for Chelsea. It's just about what you do when you are on the pitch. That's why a lot of people don't have an issue with Fofana, which I'm fine with. I'm not sitting here saying Fofana's a bad player, but he's never playing. So by definition, Tosin is better because he's on the pitch. Fine. All right. Fine. You can have 20 games for Fana, 15 games, whatever it is. But if I can get 40 games out of Tosin, what's more valuable? Anyway, we're sort of steering away from the point, which is that I'm not keen on Garnacho. I don't want Garnacho. He is not the player that Chelsea should be prioritizing. And it's just a strange deal. It's a strange deal. We would basically be doing an Arsenal, taking some dead wood that United don't want, that they're desperate to sell, although we were never desperate to sell Madueke. And we're just taking the problem off of their hands and having it ourselves. It makes no sense. So when we look at Garnacho, again, he's all right. And if Chelsea signed him for a very minimal fee, I wouldn't actually have an issue with it. I always said that if Chelsea signed Garnacho for like 25 million or something, I could sort of agree with it because it's good business financially, even if you don't like the footballing side. But when I'm hearing 40, 50, 60 million, what a fucking joke. I mean, that's ridiculous. Yeah, Ekatike. I mean, for me, that's too much money as well. I really struggle to justify that. And if that's the way the market's going, then I think that Chelsea's model is going to be more and more appealing than ever. Because it then makes more sense to go out and buy 3 players for £30 million each, even though they are all potential. None of them, you don't know what you're going to get straight away, as opposed to spending 90 million on one player who could still flop, even if he's more established. So I think Chelsea's model is becoming more and more. Clubs are looking at it and they're going, actually, these guys, fair fucking play, as they should, to be quite frank, based on what we've been able to do recently in the market. I mean, you can't really criticize what we've done there. Man United are currently unlikely to bid for Nicholas Jackson. It's being downplayed as it stands, according to Ben Jacobs, and there's no surprises. 0 surprises there. And I think that if there's going to be no moves for Jackson, I don't think there's going to be any moves for Garnacho either. Garnacho's like, he's like that kid in the classroom who's funny. People, he's a bit of a class clown. People find him funny, but he hasn't got any friends. People just like laughing at him when he's in class. Nobody invites him to their house. He's not going to any sleepovers. But we can talk about him. Fine. All right. I don't mind talking about him. But I don't want to see him. But I'll talk about him. But I do think that there is definitely like an argument when it comes to Garnacho. If he was in a better environment, do you not think that you'd get more out of the player? And I think even just looking at this comment from Rubik's, playing alongside Fernandes, Caicedo, Palmer, having great options up top to be able to link up with, being able to compete with the likes of Neto and Esteval and all of these guys, even Nkunku, still a Chelsea player, is an established player, isn't he? Reece James, Cucurella. I mean, that's a better group of players to be around. And as in any sport, and I'm not a football player. I've obviously played football, but that's not my sport. I'm a tennis guy. But it's like anything. If you play against or with, if you play alongside better players, if you train with better players, you become better. And you are a product of who you spend your time with. And let's be honest, Garnacho is not the only bum at Man United. There's a lot of bums. So he is just a byproduct of what Manchester United are, which is a toxic and pretty rotten organization who treat their staff badly, treat their fans badly, and are totally almost unsavable as long as the Glazers are involved. So from a player's perspective, walking into that and not having all of that media pressure as well, like maybe like anything, you just need a fresh start. I wouldn't be opposed to a loan move. I wouldn't be opposed to a loan move with an option to buy. So if there's anything that I put on the table for Manchester United, then a loan move is probably as far as I'd go. And a lot of you would probably still be like, no loan move, but what's there to lose? If he's crap, just don't play him. Don't fucking play the guy. And we're at a stage now where we have enough depth and enough quality that if someone's not good enough, you should have someone to just fill in and perform anyway, which is what Chelsea generally have always been about. You know, I remember Pulisic was unhappy with his game time. The guy didn't perform. So, of course, you're not going to play. Are you kidding me? And then just leave. Simple as that. Just leave. But yeah, it's got to be a financially viable deal for this one to work. If you're signing Garnacho for more than sort of 35 million, I don't see how you make a profit. So I just don't think it's a great deal. Even 30 million, like for me, 30 is probably where I cap it. We've got almost 1,000 of you in the building, over 800 people on X, and over 140 on YouTube. Guys, smash that like button. If we're on YouTube and we haven't got over 100 likes, then what are we doing? Come on, people. And on X as well. I don't even know what the hell you do on X. I never use X. I need to get better on it, guys. But like the video, repost, retweet, whatever it is we do. No, we have not sold Broha yet as it stands. Broha's not an easy asset to sell. He's injury prone and not particularly great, if we're totally honest. That is the Broha is one of those players I always believe could be a good player. Just never really clicked. His best loan spell was at Southampton. And looking back at it, we should have just fucking sold the guy at that point. That was honestly the height of Broha's potential. And that was almost like 4 years ago, maybe longer. What do you think of Brian and Wemo going to United? I think it's a great signing. I actually think some of the business United have done has been good. I think Cunha's a great signing for them. And I think Mbeumo's a great signing. I think they're both quality. And it's just about them getting rid of those players on high wages. I mean, God, there's so many of them. You've got to get rid of Rashford. You've got to get rid of Sancho. You've got Garnacho, who doesn't want to be associated with Man United. You've got Onana, who's crap. You've got defenders on stupid wages. You've got Casemiro milking you. He's on like $250,000 a week, maybe more. It's fucking extortionate what they pay out. So you've got to cut your costs, number one. Number two, you've got to start performing on the pitch. I was having a conversation today about Man United. A successful season for Man United is any form of European football is success. If they get to the Conference League qualifying stage, then it has been a successful season for Man United based on where they were, because they were useless. Absolutely crap. I mean, if there's one thing I'd ask for, there's two things you could ask for. First of all, finish in a European spot. Second of all, play better football. And if you can do one of those two things or both of those two things, I think it's been a great season. And United fans will have this ego as if, you know, they're entitled to all of these different things. I'm sorry, but that club is just, at this point, it seems like you are unsavable, especially if you sack Amorim. Whether he works or not, you cannot keep sacking managers. You've got to stick with someone. But then who am I to talk? I wanted Maresca out. There you go. You can't have it all, can you? But listen, I'm a supporter of Maresca now. We all had our rough patches, didn't we? After Brighton, after Newcastle, after Brentford. We've all been there. And now we're on the other side. But listen, I'm going to wrap it up there, guys. Really appreciate your time. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, if you want to stay up to date with all the latest Chelsea news. And I look forward to catching up with you all again tomorrow. We'll have another stream at that time. All the best, guys, and enjoy the rest of your